and resources, there's still a chance for Lao Ju to reach the nascent soul stage. But Lao Ju was enraged at this moment and he questioned the man about apologizing to his third brother. According to Lao Ju, it was that bastard who did such an evil deed, and yet this man wanted Lao Ju to apologize to him. Then Lao Ju asks the man about his child. However, this man asked Lao Ju if it is that important because this man thought that Lao Ju had figured it out since it's been 700 years. Nevertheless, Lao Ju told him that it was right and he figured it out. Then Lao Ju asked the man what if he can't fulfill his role as the one favored by the heavens. Lao Ju also asked the man if he thinks that the treasure that the family raised will rule the world according to their wishes. In addition to Lao Ju, the reason he contacted the man is not because he wants to return to the family. Since his days are numbered, Lao Ju will spend the rest of it sharpening his sword to mess up the family's plans and let all of them have a taste of regret. Then Lao Ju destroyed this thing that connected him to the man. However, before this man disappeared, he told Lao Ju to not do anything stupid. After that, the man suddenly disappeared and the purple thing instantly broke. Then Lao Ju walks away. On the other hand, Fang Xing was confused if there's no more wine since his cultivation level didn't increase and he shouldn't be able to absorb that much spiritual energy. But Fang Xing had completely refined the spiritual energy in those wines. Fang Xing was wondering if he was imagining things because according to him, it feels like the spiritual energy in his body has become more pure. Nevertheless, Fang Xing trying to find something to test it out, and he suddenly saw these powerful things inside the facility. Instantaneously, Fang Xing used his power for these things to come towards him. However, Fang Xing wasn't imagining it. Even though his cultivation level hasn't changed, his martial technique has become more powerful. But all of a sudden, Lao Ju came back to where he was, so Fang Xing was surprised by Lao Ju's presence. With an instant, Lao Ju uses his power to Fang Xing. That causes Fang Xing to float and cannot even move. According to Lao Ju, Fang Xing was good at choosing since he got the ruler's quenched bone technique, mixed element bone shaping pill, flawed black ice dragon bone jade vase, and the chalcedony silver silk flowers that Lao Ju have carefully cultivated and raised for 300 years that were supposed to bloom in 3 days. However, Fang Xing told him how about Fng Xing will insert those flowers back into the soil for Lao Ju. But Lao Ju told him to be quiet. Then he ordered Fang Xing to follow him. But Fang Xing was still under the power of Lao Ju, so he asked the elder how he was supposed to walk like that. At this moment, Lao Ju commanded Fang Xing to come closer to him. All of a sudden, Lao Ju rashly grabbed Fang Xing's clothes. With an instant, Fang Xing told him no way and he asked Lao Ju what he was doing. Then Fang Xing also told him that he will not sell his body just because of a flower. Ha. Nonetheless, Lao Ju was stunned by what Fang Xing said, and he suddenly laughed because of Fang Xing's statement. However, Lao Ju told him that he was right. Lao Ju does have some interest in Fang Xing's body. Then Lao Ju uses his power towards Fang Xing, which made Fang Xing undressed. All of a sudden, Lao Ju saw Fang Xing's stamp, and as he expected, what is hidden in the decapitation picture is actually the art of an immortal flame-quenching body. Nevertheless, Fang Xing float away but suddenly fall back to the ground. At the back of Fang Xing's mind, he got it at that moment that Lao Ju is just making fun of him because of that spiritual herb. However, Lao Ju told Fang Xing that he can stop scolding him in his head at that moment. Then he told him that he is not that childish. Fang Xing was shocked that Lao Ju knows how to read people's minds. Instantaneously, Lao Ju ordered Fang Xing to get up because he had something to ask of Fang Xing. After that, Lao Ju asked Fang Xing about why Fang Xing didn't want to learn those 4 orthodox techniques in the promotion hall. But Fang Xing told him that those things only teach blacksmiths or draw talismans, so he told Lao Ju that Fang Xing will not learn that. However, Lao Ju asked Fang Xing if what kind of martial technique is worthy enough for his eyes since he feels the 4 orthodox techniques of the Qingyun sect are too low for him. With an instant, Fang Xing angrily told him that he wants the Qingyun sect's 9 swords technique. And according to Fang Xing, even though other techniques can provide resources for him, but they are not as powerful as the Qingyun sect's 9 swords technique. In addition to Fang Xing, if want to learn, then he wants to learn the strongest technique. Nonetheless, at the back of Fang Xing's mind, if you have power, you can control people's lives. If you have no power but are full of resources, so what? You will eventually be at the mercy of others. But Lao Ju told Fang Xing that the Qingyun sect's 9 swords technique may be the strongest in the Qingyun sect, but there are at least 2 or 3 techniques in the Chufeng mainland that are similar to it. And if Fang Xing will look at the whole South Jianbu continent, it's not even worth mentioning. So even Fang Xing learned that it is not the strongest. Then Fang Xing told him that he will just learn those first before learning a stronger one. However, Lao Ju told him that all the sects in the world regard their own martial technique as their lifeblood. They might not pass it on to Fang Xing. Instantaneously, Fang Xing told him that he will steal it then. Fang Xing has to learn anyway. But Lao Ju asked Fang Xing that if he's not strong enough, how will Fang Xing steal other people's martial techniques? With an instant, Fang Xing asks Lao Ju what he should do. According to Lao Ju, Fang Xing won't have the strongest martial technique, but there is still the strongest cultivation method, and that method is quite suited for Fang Xing. Fang Xing excitedly asked Lao Ju what it was. Instantaneously, Lao Ju told him that it was the combat cultivator. However, Fang Xing doesn't have any idea about the combat cultivator, so he asks the elder. Then Lao Ju showed Fang Xing these things and said that he was sure Fang Xing also knew that people in cultivation all rely on their skills as their way of life. Additionally, someone who is good at alchemy is called an alchemy cultivator. Someone who is good with tools is called a tool cultivator. There are also people who are good at talismans and spell formations. Then Lao Ju told Fang Xing that there are many different names. Of course, this is only looking inside the Qingyun sect. But if Fang Xing will look at the whole South Jianbu continent, there are even more classifications of cultivators. According to Lao Ju, there are spiritual cultivators who specialize in raising spiritual beasts, farming cultivators who specialize in planting spiritual fields, and even cultivators who rely on trade and business in the red light district to cultivate. In short, the world of cultivation is far more complicated than Fang Xing can imagine. And those various cultivators all work hard just for the sake of resources. What the hell is that? Fang Xing stated, and at the back of his mind, if only there were cultivators who specialized in robbing. Nonetheless, Lao Ju told him that combat cultivators are the most special existence independent of those categories. They neither refine pills nor make tools, but only focus all their energy to study techniques and martial arts. In addition to Lao Ju, they only pursue to be the strongest, and they will not do anything unrelated to it. With an instant, Fang Xing told Lao Ju that he likes those and he wants to be a combat cultivator. But Lao Ju told him that it's not that simple. And according to Lao Ju, the reason why combat cultivators are the most special existence in the cultivation world is because they do not have any access to resources. So it is difficult for combat cultivators to maintain a normal life if they have not completed their cultivation. Therefore, there are only two kinds of people who will choose to become combat cultivators. The first is the prodigies of major sects and families. In addition to Lao Ju, they never have to worry about resources. The only thing they have to do is to do their best to improve their own strength. And the second is incompetent people who have no talent for making pills, are too lazy to make tools, find it too troublesome to draw talismans, and think that divination is too complicated and abstruse. Such people, although barely also called a combat cultivator, their strength is very weak and they are just using the name of combat cultivation to escape from reality. So to put it bluntly, combat cultivators are either geniuses or trash, Fang Xing stated. With an instant, Lao Ju told him that Fang Xing can say that. However, Fang Xing told him that he's not either of the two. Then Lao Ju asked Fang Xing if he's not the second kind. Nevertheless, Fang Xing told him that he's only lacking in money, not brain. So why does Fang Xing feel like Lao Ju was making him stay there for half a day just to make fun of him? What's the rush? There are other reasons why I say you're suited to be a combat cultivator. Because you have comprehended the decapitation picture and mastered the true samadhi fire. You are destined to be more talented than others in combat cultivation, Lao Ju stated. With an instant, Fang Xing asked Lao Ju about what's the true samadhi fire. According to Lao Ju, the true samadhi fire is said to be an immortal flame that can only be mastered by the true immortals that attain the crossing calamity realm. The rage, desire and vow contained inside those true samadhi fire are the three most difficult to refine amongst the 7 emotions and 6 desires. A true immortal can turn those components into fire and bring out powerful strength. Lao Ju also told Fang Xing that the great thing about the true samadhi fire is that it can not only cause physical pain, but also harm one's divine sense, thus being extremely difficult to defend against. However, Fang Xing asked Lao Ju if at that moment he had mastered those powerful things. Instantaneously, Lao Ju told him that Fang Xing only has the rage of the samadhi and hasn't mastered the other two. So Fang Xing is still far from the legendary true samadhi fire. Fang Xing was confused at this moment, so he asked Lao Ju if the burning flame in the decapitation picture was one of the true fires. Lao Ju instantly said yes, and according to Lao Ju's speculation, The unyielding will of the immortal before he died stirred up his anger. After being beheaded, that anger and the immortal's blood were both left on the decapitation picture. Then he told Fang Xing that when Fang Xing understood the picture, Fang Xing resonated with the immortal's unyielding will, which aroused the anger in Fang Xing's own body and allowed him to master the rage of the samadhi. But at the back of Fang Xing's mind, he didn't expect that he would even gain something from being burnt. And no wonder Fang Xing felt that something changed when he drank the spiritual wine previously. According to Fang Xing, it was the fire that helped change his physique. Nevertheless, Lao Jiu told him that although those fires are extraordinary, it has not been refined. Before Fang Xing's cultivation level reaches the crossing calamity reels, it will be very difficult to master the operation of those fires. Therefore, it will be difficult for Fang Xing to display all the enigmas of the true samadhi fire. However, this fire can greatly help Fang Xing in the way of combat cultivation, which is to refine Fang Xing's body. However, Fang Xing was confused about refining his body. Then Fang Xing asked Lao Jiu if he was sure. Instantaneously, Lao Jiu told him that it was right. Just like how true fire refines steel, Fang Xing can use the rage of the samadhi to refine his body. And according to Lao Jiu, Fang Xing cannot compete with those who are born with strong physique and refined spiritual power by normal cultivation. In order to raise the strength of their combat cultivators, all the sects and families in the world have researched all sorts of secret techniques. There is spiritual liquid cleansing, true Yuan body, wind swallowing and drinking dew, and weak water transformation. Although combat cultivators that train with these secret techniques can execute 3 or 4 masters higher than his own level, their great strength also depends on the accumulation of resources. The resources consumed by 3 or 4 ordinary nascent soul cultivators can't even be compared to the resources consumed by 1 golden core combat cultivator. Nonetheless, Fang Xing told Lao Jiu that they are basically black sheep squandering the family fortune. However, Lao Jiu suddenly knocked Fang Xing's forehead and said nonsense. Then he told him that it's not a waste. It's just that the combat cultivators naturally have to consume more resources than ordinary cultivators. In addition to Lao Jiu, for any large sect and family, having their own combat cultivator is a guarantee to protect their own interests, and if there is no combat cultivator, then the end of the sect is near. So it can be said that a combat cultivator is in existence like God's protectors. Then Lao Jiu asked Fang Xing if he understood. Fine, but even if I become a combat cultivator, the sect won't give me any secret technique anyway, Fang Xing stated. With an instant, Lao Jiu told him that's why he will let Fang Xing use his samadhi rage to purify himself and his body. Even if there is no secret technique, Fang Xing still was able to quickly raise his spiritual power and cultivation, allowing Fang Xing to attain strength that far exceeds normal people. In addition to Lao Jiu, of course Fang Xing won't be able to escape from the amount of resources a combat cultivator needs to consume. The amount of resources that Fang Xing needs to accumulate from foundation building to golden core is astronomical. Then he told Fang Xing that Fang Xing needs to be mentally prepared. At this moment, Fang Xing felt embarrassed that Lao Jiu would use so many resources to help Fang Xing. But Lao Jiu asked Fang Xing, since when did Lao Jiu say that he will do that? Instantaneously, Fang Xing told him that Lao Jiu told him so much, explained about combat cultivators, and instructed him on how to cultivate. Then Fang Xing asked Lao Jiu if he weren't planning to take Fang Xing as his disciple. In addition to Fang Xing, he asked Lao Jiu that as a master, won't Lao Jiu have to share all his resources with his own disciple? And of course, if Fang Xing got bullied, Lao Jiu has to help him fight back, and if Fang Xing likes someone, Lao Jiu will have to help Fang Xing propose a marriage. Then Fang Xing asked him again if isn't that what a master should do. However, Lao Jiu asks Fang Xing what kind of nonsense is he spouting. Then he told the kid that he wanted to teach Fang Xing and not worship him. Nonetheless, Lao Jiu commanded Fang Xing to listen carefully. Then he explained to Fang Xing that the reason why he is willing to guide him in his cultivation is only because Lao Jiu was curious what kind of combat cultivator will be created with the technique found in the decapitation picture. Then he told Fang Xing that he would only tell Fang Xing what he needed. As for how to get the resources, that will depend on Fang Xing. However, at the back of Fang Xing's mind, the old guy talks so much but doesn't want to do anything. Lao Jiu was basically just forcing Fang Xing to become a robbing cultivator. But at the back of Lao Jiu's mind, looking at Fang Xing's gaze, Fang Xing was definitely thinking of something irrelevant again. Then Lao Jiu instantly told Fang Xing that he wanted to teach Fang Xing the way to become the most powerful combat cultivator. After that, he asked Fang Xing if he is willing to learn it. Instantaneously, Fang Xing excitedly said that of course, he is willing to learn. However, Lao Ju told him that this path will be 100 times harder than normal cultivation. Then he asked Fang Xing again if he was still willing to learn. Fang Xing instantly said yes. Lao Ju also told him that this path will be 100 times more dangerous than normal cultivation. Then he asked the kid once again if he was still willing to learn. With an instant, Fang Xing said yes, and Fang Xing told him that he won't regret his decision. At this moment, Lao Ju was glad while saying, "All right, I'll teach you." At the present time, Lao Ju started teaching Fang Xing about the techniques, and according to Lao Ju, when refining spiritual energy with true fire, the fire must be controlled well, neither out of control nor too weak. Then he told Fang Xing to follow the regular pattern and slowly introduce fire into the body like cultivating a martial technique. In addition to Lao Ju, if Fang Xing wanted to use real fire to quench his body and step onto the path of a combat cultivator, the burning pain is only just the beginning. Nevertheless, Fang Xing's body started sweating badly, which caused Fang Xing's sweat to flood the floor. While Lao Ju was staring at Fang Xing, he was amazed, and according to him, he didn't expect that Fang Xing would draw fire into his body so quickly. After that, he told Fang Xing to start harnessing the fire to refine his Kai. He also shared to Fang Xing that he read all the Qingyun collection last night and found that there was no technique in the whole Qingyun sect that could fully bring out the power of the true Samadhi fire. There's no other way, so Fang Xing should first use the Qingyun true forging technique to operate the true Samadhi fire. Fang Xing was confused at this moment if he heard it correctly. Then he asks Lao Ju if it isn't the true forging technique used for blacksmithing. Instantaneously, Lao Ju slapped Fang Xing in the head and he told him that he adjusted it slightly to make it more suitable for the cultivation of true Samadhi fire, and it's not some blacksmithing martial technique. According to Lao Ju, the reason why he chose the Qingyun true forging technique skill of forging tools and the technique to control the true Samadhi fire, refine Fang Xing's physique and build a strong body. And it can also help in hiding Fang Xing's strength. However, Fang Xing told him to not hit him as Lao Ju liked. Then he also told Lao Ju that yesterday Lao Ju would teach him, so how come after one night Lao Ju suddenly switched stances? After that, Fang Xing asked Lao Ju what's so good about a modified true forging technique. Then Fang Xing told him to stop messing around with him. But Lao Ju said that Fang Xing really doesn't know anything. Then he told him to forget it because it is pointless to talk more. All of a sudden, Lao Ju uses his power to tie Fang Xing. At this moment, Fang Xing was really angry at Lao Ju and scared because Lao Ju flew away together with Fang Xing. Nonetheless, Fang Xing angrily asked Lao Ju about what he was doing. However, Lao Ju just said that Fang Xing was very noisy. Then Fang Xing angrily ordered Lao Ju to release him. With an instant, Lao Ju releases Fang Xing while they were still in the air. And it's too late when Fang Xing realizes that he was still in the air, so he suddenly fell into the freezing and very cold water. According to Lao Ju, this is called a cold pond, named after the natural cold spring under the ground. Additionally, only this extremely yin and cold place can accommodate the strong yang of Fang Xing's true Samadhi fire. So from that day onwards, Fang Xing will cultivate there. While Fang Xing was freezing under the water, he cursed Lao Ju, and at the back of his mind, Lao Ju teases him all day long with his goods. Lao Ju better watch out because Fang Xing is going to spit water in his face. At this moment, Lao Ju used his power to lift up Fang Xing from the cold water, and according to the Yin-Yang Divine Demon Book, Lao Ju uses the modified version of Qingyun True Forging Technique high-level martial technique. However, according to Fang Xing, Lao Ju was able to turn a medium-level technique into a higher-level technique overnight, and that's not something an ordinary elder of the Qingyun sect can do. Fang Xing had a lot of questions in his mind. Why would Lao Ju spend time and energy to teach Fang Xing when he has such skills? Who the hell is he, and what's his purpose? Nevertheless, Lao Ju told Fang Xing to not dawdle. Then he ordered the kid to come sit and meditate. At the back of Fang Xing's mind, it's really strange though. That old white-haired cultivator is so secretive, but for some reason, Fang Xing didn't hate him. It feels that Lao Ju and Fang Xing are quite similar in some places. Nonetheless, Lao Ju told Fang Xing to circulate the spiritual flame rotation of the martial technique in his body, and convert the spiritual energy inside his body to spiritual flames outside his body. Then use the tool refining method to refine his physique and gather spiritual energy. But at the back of Fang Xing's mind, whatever. Anyway, he has the Yin-Yang Divine Demon Book. But Fang Xing has already seen through it if there is an ulterior motive in the things Lao Ju's going to pass on to Fang Xing. In any case, Fang Xing cannot afford to lose. Time goes by and night comes. Fang Xing's body was surrounded by powerful flames, and while Lao Ju was staring at him, Lao Ju suddenly said, "This is bad." All of a sudden, Fang Xing screamed as if he was in pain as his eyes lit up and his body changed color. With an instant, Lao Ju uses his power to protect Fang Xing, and then he tells him to quickly restrain his mind and extinguish the fire with the heavenly sword Kai. Fang Xing was groaning in pain at the moment, and he suddenly wanted to reach Lao Ju. Instantaneously, Lao Ju asked Fang Xing about the meaning of the words true forging and the Qingyan true forging technique. Nonetheless, while Fang Xing was moaning in pain, he did his best to tell Lao Ju that it's forging to remove impurities, to return to the true. But Fang Xing didn't finish his words and he suddenly collapsed and fell to the ground. And it's too late already that he finished his words. At this moment, Lao Ju used his power to heal Fang Xing. Fortunately, Fang Xing got up while coughing, but he was enraged since he failed again. However, Lao Ju asked Fang Xing if he still had the energy to hit the ground. Then he told Fang Xing that in Lao Ju's opinion, Fang Xing did not fail. So Fang Xing cheered up while saying, "Really? Then, did I enter?" But Fang Xing didn't finish his words when Lao Ju put something in his mouth. Then Lao Ju told him, to put it another way, Fang Xing were very successful at becoming roasted meat that has spiritual intelligence and can talk. However, Fang Xing laughed at Lao Ju, then stated that he didn't know Lao Ju liked to make cold jokes. But Zhao Lao Ju to be serious, then he asks Fang Xing if Fang Xing thinks it was funny. With an instant, Fang Xing shook his head while saying, "Nope." Nevertheless, Fang Xing was shocked when Lao Ju told him to continue since Fang Xing looked like he was fine at that moment. Then Lao Ju used his power again on Fang Xing that caused the kid to end up in the water. However, Fang Xing was angry and he told the elder that he was abusing his authority. Then Fang Xing started it all over again. But still, he failed again and again and again. Nonetheless, Fang Xing told Lao Ju that they've practiced so many times and yet Lao Ju is still worried. So Fang Xing ordered Lao Ju to not interfere this time and let him do it again alone. Lao Ju instantly followed Fang Xing's order, then he told him to do as he wished. At this moment, Fang Xing started focusing once again, and he was alone this time. All of a sudden, the water begins to boil because of Fang Xing's body that was surrounded with flames. However, while Lao Ju was staring at him, Fang Xing started to use his technique using his hands, and all of a sudden, Fang Xing screamed and said, "Go and burn." Nevertheless, as a result of it, Fang Xing vomits blood, and he suddenly collapsed. But Lao Ju said that there is something wrong. Unexpectedly, there is a blue dragon that came out from the water and roared very loud. So Lao Ju was confused if Fang Xing succeeded. Nonetheless, at this moment, Lao Ju told Fang Xing that it seems he had finally succeeded on the 7th try. Fang Xing was glad and amazed, and he told Lao Ju that he told him it would work. Fang Xing feels like he can punch through a mountain at that moment. Then Lao Ju explained to him that it is because the vitality